Loaded poll list this week. Comic Crew. Clark Parker here for ComicsQuick. DC just put its best-selling comic on a fast track to becoming an animated series, and it's a bigger deal than it sounds. Marvel sent Spider-Man on a road trip that turns out to barely be about Spider-Man at all. Frank Castle's the one actually a long way from home. And over in DC's Elseworlds corner, Supergirl just got a costume change that's splitting the fandom right down the middle. 3 stories, then a fast lap around everything else worth knowing. Let's get into it. We're starting with the best-selling book in comics landing the biggest stage in animation. At Annecy, DC Studios and Warner Brothers Animation shared a stage for the first time in the festival's 66-year history, and the headline out of it was Absolute Batman officially heading to series, with Scott Snyder executive producing and Nick Dragotta on board as producer. Peter Safran and Sam Register made the announcement themselves, and by every account, the crowd reaction was loud. There's no streaming home, release window, or animation studio attached yet. This is a green light, not a release date. It landed alongside 2 other new DC Studios animation projects, an anime take on the Joker called Joker, Laugh Riot, and a new crypto series, so this is clearly part of a bigger animation push and not a one-off. And honestly, of course, this is the one that got picked up first. Absolute Batman has sold past 6 million copies. Issue 1 is still sitting on an 11th printing, and Absolute titles are a big reason DC's been outselling Marvel at the shop level, with market share now running north of 34% to Marvel's 29%. Putting both Snyder and Dragotta in the room means whatever this becomes isn't getting handed off to people who don't understand why the book works. The one thing I'd want before getting fully invested is an actual frame of animation. Dragotta's art on this book is so specific, all jagged proportions and oversized Bruce, that how they translate that to motion is the real test nobody's answered yet. But as far as picking the right book to bet on, DC got this one right. Now to Marvel, where Spider-Man: Long Way Home turned out to be lying to us a little, and I mean that as a compliment. Jonathan Hickman and Adam Kubert built this 5-issue series around Spider-Man, Punisher, and Hulk all chasing the same missing cosmic cube, and the title makes it sound like Peter's the one stranded far from everything he knows. He's not. Kubert apparently realized partway through that the real Long Way Home belongs to Frank Castle, and once you see that, the whole structure of the first issue clicks into place. This is a Punisher and Hulk pursuit story that Spider-Man just happens to get pulled into. It's a smart bait and switch, not a dishonest one. Nobody's getting misled into buying something else. The comic still delivers exactly the merciless 3-way chase the cover promises. What sold me is Hickman centering so much of the issue on Castle and Banner, instead of leaning on Spider-Man as the obvious headliner. It's an evergreen story sitting outside the main Marvel timeline, which means it doesn't owe you 20 years of continuity to land, and based on issue 1, it doesn't need to. Over at DC's Elseworlds line, Supergirl. Survive just revealed where Kara ends up by issue 4, and it's a long way from the red skirt. The series strands a teenage Kara and baby Kal-El together, in a rocket knocked off course, dumping them on a hostile, undeveloped world with no way home. By issue 4, survival's worn her all the way down. Cropped hair, a ray gun, and now a brand new costume that's unmistakably built on Nightwing's color scheme. Black and blue instead of red and blue, with a stripped-down, bird-shaped emblem standing in for the classic SDCs, calling it one of the biggest visual departures in the character's 67-year history, and honestly, that's not much of an exaggeration. My worry on this is that biggest legacy shift headlines tend to outrun the story underneath them. And early reviews on issue 1 already flagged this book as rushed in places, even while finding the origin remix interesting. A costume that dramatic needs an arc that's earned it panel by panel, not solicit copy doing the heavy lifting. Kara losing the red and blue makes sense as a survivor, stripped of everything Krypton gave her. That's a real idea. Whether Survive has actually built up to that moment by issue 4, or whether it's leaning on a striking image to cover for pacing problems, is the part I still need to see for myself. 3 quick ones before we wrap. Sonic the Hedgehog turns 35 next month, and IDW is marking it with a full-length anniversary special from Yasmin Omar Atta and Thomas Roethlisberger. Sonic, Tails, and Amy go to visit Knuckles on Angel Island. A meteor crashes nearby, and Eggman steals it to juice up Metal Sonic, who promptly decides world domination isn't ambitious enough and goes for wiping out all life instead. Sonic recruits the classic crew, Mighty, Ray, Fang, Bean, and Bark, to stop him. It's a genuinely sweet excuse to get the old guard back in one book. And Marvel's bringing back the Mangaverse for its 25th anniversary with 5 one-shots running weekly through September. Joe Kelly's writing the bookend issues with his son Jack, Kenny Ruiz on art, and the line's picking up its own continuity like it never went away. Ironheart, an Avengers team of sorcerers, and a Ghostlock revival all get their own books. It's a deep-cut nostalgia play, but it's a fun one. This could be a hit, and I wonder if DC will do something similar. And one more for the library crowd. Hoopla's teaming up with a new distribution service called Aggregate Inc. to get indie comics onto library shelves. Aggregate Inc.'s founder, Eric Gladstone, built it after his own books couldn't hit the minimum thresholds publishers usually need for library distribution. So now he's pooling smaller creators together under one banner instead. It's already got about 100 titles live on Hoopla and the Palace Project, with Comics Plus and Libby up next, and creators keep 75% of royalties after the cuts. It's a real answer to the question of what happens to a comic after its Kickstarter ships. A big win for independent comics. My poll list. Pick Spider-Man. Long Way Home, number 1, Marvel. Jonathan Hickman and Adam Kubert's Chase issue quietly turns out to be Frank Castle's story, and it doesn't ask you to know 20 years of continuity to enjoy it. So that's the week. DC's biggest book on shelves is officially becoming an animated series, Spider-Man Long Way Home. Quietly turned out to be Frank Castle's story all along. And Supergirl just traded her cape colors for something a lot darker. Tell me which one you're most curious about this week in comics. And if ComicsQuick's worth a spot in your feed, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go support your local comic shop, grab those pre-orders, and keep reading comics. I've been Clark Parker for ComicsQuick. See you in the next one.